A fairy with horns?
Grandfather was very fond of pets. He had a large variety in the house. But my own favorite was a black goat. She had followed me home from the mustard fields by the riverside. One pleasant evening, I was sitting on the bank of a small irrigation canal. Suddenly, I felt my elbow being nudged. Looking around, I found at my side a little goat. She was jet black and soft as velvet. Neither her owner nor her mother was around. A little later, I got up to leave for home. When I started walking, she followed me. She walked unsteadily, her thin legs taking her this way and that. I quickened my steps to leave her behind, but her legs were stronger than I had thought. She came along running right up to the gate of our house. Now, there was nothing I could do. I carried her in and presented her to Grandfather. We put before her a saucer of milk. At once she started lapping at it. When Grandmother saw this, she said,
"I have told both of you again and again that I won't tolerate another bird or animal in the house."
Grandfather at once pretended that he had bought the goat for Grandmother's sake. "Goat's milk would be very good for your rheumatism," he said. The formula worked. Grandmother tolerated the new pet, even though it would be some time before the goat could give any milk. All pets in the house had names of their own. The goat too was given a name. It was named Tinker Bell, after the name of a fairy. Surely there was something of a fairy about our Tinker. She skipped about very daintily. Her feet seemed to have springs in them. It was a joy to see her leaping about and dancing on our lawn. I had tied a little bell to her neck. She would wake me up in the morning by licking my feet. She loved an early morning walk. In many ways, she was a better companion than a dog. She did not get into quarrels with cats or stray dogs. Goats grow up fast. Our Tinker too had to grow up. To begin with, she had a lovely pair of horns. Her appetite also began to grow, mainly in the direction of the garden. The leaves of the sweet pea and geranium were her favorites. One morning, Grandmother found all her sweet peas destroyed. I put the blame on a cow. I said that the cow must have got into the garden during the night. Grandmother made no comment. However, the look in her eyes suggested that she knew the real culprit. Next day, the gardener came to Grandmother. He looked very angry. He said that while he was putting the sweet pea bed right, Tinker came up and butted him from behind. He refused to work until Tinker was tied up. Grandmother was furious, but we calmed her down. "By the way," she said, "when are we going to have the milk you promised?" Said Grandmother.
Oh, we now knew that trouble was coming, and it did come before long. One of my aunts had come to stay with us. She had the habit of bending over flower pots and talking to the flowers. One morning, she was bending over a flower pot and talking to the geranium. Tinker thought my aunt also wanted to eat geranium leaves, so she decided to butt her rival away.
That was the end of Tinker's stay with us. Grandmothers chained poor Tinker and ordered the cook to take her away and sell her at any price. Tinker seemed to know she was being taken away forever. Her eyes were moist. I could only wave to her. I prayed that her next owner would be a vegetarian. When the cook came back, he said that Tinker had been sold for 10 rupees. But later, when I was alone, He told me that he had not sold Tinker. He had taken her to his own house. He promised that Tinker would be well looked after. I visited Tinker quite often. After a year, I found her with a lovely little kid. Tinker was giving the cook's family a good supply of milk, and they were pleased with her. She butted only strangers who came too near her kid.